At the beginning of the movie, we get this historical intro about the Second Sino-Japanese War, 1937 to 1945, which is described as the bloodiest conflict in 20th century Asia. It mentions how countries like the US, Russia, and Germany were backing China. Then comes this really disturbing scene: Japanese soldiers chasing down Chinese women and assaulting them. The Japanese troops are committing all kinds of horrific war crimes, mass killings, gang rapes, the works. In the middle of it all, we see Lieutenant Kyuzo, this total war criminal, who rapes Chinese women and then guns them down in cold blood. Right after these super dark scenes, the movie suddenly flips to these epic, poetic, super patriotic shots. In a glorious, shining morning, I offer my life to the Emperor. The shout of 100 million people echoes from the sky. Go, Japanese man, go! Fight for your homeland! It's this poem that totally glorifies the sacrificial spirit of Japanese soldiers, straight up in line with the propaganda of the Japanese Empire back then. The main story kicks off when Kyuzo comes home. He's being treated like this brave, loyal role model for soldiers, and they're told to deliver him to his family with full respect. But what's left of Kyuzo is absolutely horrifying. He's got no arms or legs, he's blind and mute, half his face is badly burned. Basically just a torso with 3 medals pinned to his chest. His wife, Shigeko, sees him and totally freaks out. She's in complete shock and refuses to accept it. She screams, "This can't be my husband! This isn't Kyuzo!" The family tries to calm her down, but you can hear the fear in everyone's voice. Kyuzo's dad looks at his son and just sinks into total despair and confusion. He has no idea what's going to happen to them now. Kyuzo's sister tells her dad they're lucky they didn't send Shigeko back to her parents' house, because her brother's condition is so shameful and painful that nobody except Shigeko could possibly take care of him. When Shigeko gets back home, Kyuzo's father proudly announces that those medals were personally awarded to his son by the Emperor of Japan. To the family, Kyuzo is still a hero who's brought them honor. The sister reminds Shigeko about their other brother, Taizo, who came back from the war as nothing but ashes, and says, "At least Kyuzo came back alive. You have to take care of him for the sake of our country." Then the father, sister, and the other brother leave, and Shigeko is left alone with her husband. In the heavy silence of the house, suddenly Kyuzo's voice echoes in Shigeko's mind, a voice that'll never come out of his mouth again. "I am Kyuzo. I fought to protect Japan. Long live the Emperor!" Shigeko, with a broken heart, sits next to him and talks to him about the tragedy that's hit them. A little later, in a moment of total rage and desperation, she reaches for his throat to strangle him, but right away she regrets it and pulls her hands back. Kyuzo then makes some awkward, unclear gestures, trying to show his basic needs. He needs to use the bathroom. A moment later, Shigeko realizes that Kyuzo's eyes are fixed on the medals. At the peak of her despair, Shigeko breaks down in tears, and Kyuzo starts crying with her. In the newspapers, there's this official write-up praising Kyuzo's bravery. The Japanese army calls him a fearless hero who single-handedly charged the enemy lines and, with his incredible courage, cleared the way for his comrades to advance. Even after losing all his limbs, he miraculously survived, and the army honored him for that sacrifice. Meanwhile, the village women are putting a ton of emotional pressure on Shigeko. They tell her, "We know you've got really tough days ahead, but your husband is a great and honorable man. Take care of him and be an example for all of us women. What you're doing is no less than fighting on the front lines. This is also service to the Emperor of Japan. We on the home front have to stay strong and not give up." Shigeko answers with a voice she's trying hard to keep steady and firm. "I can handle this. I'm the wife of Kyuzo, the hero of the battlefield. I'll do my duty in service to the Emperor and take care of my husband." In the next scene, war reports are playing on the radio. Shigeko is now living her everyday life with Kyuzo, a weird, quiet, but super bitter routine. Sometimes she scratches his lifeless body, whispers stuff to him under her breath, and realizes he wants sex. She takes care of his needs. Then she reads him poems, ones that carry this sense of longing and waiting. The next day, Shigeko heads out to work in the rice paddies and gets home really late. She hasn't fed Kyuzo or given him a bath. Kyuzo gestures to her, asking her to show him the newspaper clippings about his heroic deeds. The day after that, with Shigeko's help, Kyuzo manages to scribble a few crooked, messy words on paper. She figures out he wants sex again, and she's forced to satisfy him. One day, Shigeko's brother Tadashi comes to visit. They exchange a quick hello and some small talk. Then Tadashi starts talking about the war, the call-ups, old men and young guys getting shipped off one by one. He pauses and says he's the only one left in the village who hasn't been drafted because they say his body's too weak. People think that since he hasn't served the emperor, he's not a real Japanese man. He feels like he's been no use to the emperor at all, not like his brothers. His voice drops lower as he says their older brother Taizo got killed in the war, and Kyuzo came back like this. Months go by, and Shigeko keeps tending to her husband, feeding him, eating less herself on purpose so he can have more. Shigeko then decides to take Kyuzo outside with her because he's a hero of his country and everyone wants to see their brave warrior. People look at Kyuzo with admiration and say stuff like, Kyuzo's loyalty to the emperor is famous everywhere, and Shigeko's devotion to Kyuzo is a shining example of purity and virtue. Shigeko quietly replies, "I'm just doing my duty." Shigeko gets praised for her sacrifice and care, and she's held up as a role model for women. At a village gathering, they stress the importance of unity and solidarity as the foundation of defense. Pointing to family members being sent off to war, they urge everyone to protect the homeland, show patriotic spirit, and support the emperor. They emphasize that this is the last line of defense, and no hardship will weaken their resolve to protect the emperor. Later on, during sex, Kyuzo flashes back to the brutal memories of raping and committing those past atrocities. Meanwhile, with food shortages getting bad, Shigeko cooks rice for her husband, who's seen as a war hero, and repeats wartime slogans about frugality and contributing to the nation's economy. But he refuses to eat it, so she's forced to eat it herself. The next day, Shigeko asks Kyuzo to attend the farewell ceremony for one of the village men who's joining the army, calling it a national duty. She reminds Kyuzo that taking part is his responsibility as a war hero, but he refuses, and Shigeko is forced to attend the ceremony on her own. Villagers bring eggs to thank Kyuzo as a war hero. But that night, Shigeko, worn out and pissed off from his condition, force-feeds him the eggs violently. In a moment of anger and tears, she calls the war hero Kyuzo a cripple and helpless. In a government report from March 10, 1945, they claim Japanese air operations, including a commando raid on the American base in Okinawa and successful bombings, have brought victories to the empire and thrown the enemy into chaos. The report ends with the slogan, "Victory to the Emperor's soldiers." Amid tough rationing, Shigeko makes sweets to celebrate the army's victory. Crying, she starts reciting poems about the rising sun and Japan's beauty and power, keeping her spirit of hope and national pride alive. Shigeko then remembers the day Kyuzo was sent off, when he stressed his identity and duty as a soldier, vowing to fight for the Empire of Japan. Later, Shigeko talks to Tadashi in anger and frustration about her husband's severe disability, stressing that he suffered these wounds serving the country and the emperor. Tired of everyone praising her husband as a hero, she yells at them to leave her alone. One night, in an intense emotional outburst, Shigeko screams out her deep anger and pain over Kyuzo's condition and his violent past. With bitter questions like, "Why didn't you come back whole?" and bringing up the beatings and humiliations from before, plus accusing him of making her barren, she fiercely challenges the whole war hero label and says how useless it is for their real life. But afterward, filled with regret and softness, she apologizes to Kyuzo and takes the blame off him. She talks about healing together and keeping life simple to calm things down. Shigeko anxiously tries to soothe Kyuzo by encouraging him to eat and giving him pep talks, calling him war hero. But Kyuzo is in agony, tormented by memories of raping a Chinese girl in the past. Tadashi, Shigeko's brother, finally gets drafted. The film then moves to the final events of World War II in Japan, the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, which killed over 210,000 people and ultimately led to Japan's defeat. On August 15, 1945, the Emperor announces the unconditional surrender to the Allies, saying the people's welfare comes first. After the war ends, people celebrate, but this victory comes with horrific consequences. Thousands of Japanese soldiers executed for war crimes, staggering human losses, including bombing victims, and millions dead across Asia and the world in World War II. In the end, Kyuzo takes his own life by dragging himself into the pond near the house. The film closes with an emotional poem spoken from the perspective of a young girl killed in the Hiroshima bombing. She died at 7 years old, talks about closed doors, and says her only wish isn't for food or candy, but for world peace, so no other child ever has to taste burning and suffering.